Are you ready to learn the essentials of digital marketing so you can have a marketing system that gets you leads and clients consistently? This video is it. First, we're going to talk about your marketing foundation, something called the 4 Ps. We're going to talk about how to have a clear offer. We're going to talk about how you can price yourself. And then we're going to talk about how to have a frictionless path to getting you hired or getting your courses sold or whatever it is you're selling. In the next section, we're going to go over your marketing plan. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process for turning that foundation into a strategy with real objectives and actions that you can take. After that, we're going to talk about your audience. We're going to talk about lead generation because knowing your buyer persona very deeply is going to help you out. We're going to talk about building a funnel that moves people from strangers to clients. Then towards the end, we're going to talk about your channel strategy. Everybody's channel strategy is a little bit different. The types of marketing that matter, how to use email, how to use direct marketing, how to show up consistently in all the right places, and that kind of stuff. And then at the end, we're going to talk about metrics, measurements. We're going to discuss mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs make, so you don't need to make them. And then we're going to talk about your launch plan, whether you have a new campaign or a new product or a new service you're rolling out. And that's going to give you a real playbook for bringing new offers to the market. So you are in good hands. I have 25 years of experience in this, so go check it out. I'm going to save you 2 years of throwing spaghetti at the wall with your marketing. You're welcome. Most people don't have a tactic problem. They're not failing because they picked the wrong hashtag or they haven't started Reels yet. They're struggling because nobody ever gave them a solid marketing foundation to build on. And without that foundation, everything else, the content, the ads, the email lists, all of it, it's just expensive guesswork. So today we're going through the actual fundamentals of marketing in a way that makes sense for people like you and like me, not Fortune 500 brands. So what actually is marketing? Marketing is every strategy, action, and system you use to achieve your business goals. That could mean getting more clients, building your reputation, growing your audience, or launching a brand new offer. All of it falls under marketing. Marketing is the umbrella. Now, here's the thing that trips a lot of people up. Marketing and advertising are not the same thing. Advertising is actually just one piece of marketing. Think of marketing like a whole pizza, and advertising is just one slice of that, but you still need the rest of the pizza. And I bring this up because a lot of solopreneurs treat marketing like it's just running ads or posting on social media. But your pricing strategy is marketing. The way you onboard clients is marketing. The words on your website is marketing. The way you show up on a discovery call is marketing and sales. It's the whole system, not just the visible stuff. Think about HubSpot. They are a master class in marketing done right. They don't just run ads. They create free tools. They publish incredibly useful blog content. They offer free certifications. They even host events. Their entire business ecosystem is designed to attract the right people and build trust over time and then convert them into paying customers. The ads are just one small part of a bigger system. Now, you're not HubSpot. I'm not HubSpot. You're a solopreneur like me, or maybe you're a small team. But the principle is exactly the same. Every touch point someone has with you and your business is marketing. And when all of those touch points work together, that's when things start to click. And here's something worth saying out loud. Good marketing can absolutely make a business. And bad marketing or no marketing can absolutely break one. I've seen incredibly coaches and consultants with transformational offers completely invisible in the market because they never build a real marketing system. Don't let that be you. Now we're going to get into something called the 4 Ps. But before we go there, I want to give you a simple process overview because that's the map we're going to keep coming back to for marketing. Step 1 is to analyze your current situation. Where are you right now? What are you offering? What have you tried? What's working and what is not working. Step 2 is to analyze your competition. Who else is serving your audience and what can you learn from them? Step 3 is to define your objectives. Where do you actually want to go and how will you know when you got there? Step 4 is to take action and implement your strategies. That's my favorite part. This is where the actual marketing happens. And step 5 is to monitor your metrics and optimize. This is the step most solopreneurs skip. And here's a real world example of what happens when you skip step 5. A consultant I know was running LinkedIn content for almost an entire year. And they were posting consistently. They got some decent engagement and they felt good about it. But she had never once looked at which posts were actually driving people to her website or to her discovery calls. And she never looked at who was actually driving away. When we looked at her data together, we saw that the long form content, so those are the LinkedIn articles, the long posts, that was driving all the traffic to her sales pages and to her discovery calls. So all that small, short stuff she was doing wasn't actually working. So what we did, we got together, looked at the metrics, see what worked, and then we doubled down. She almost doubled her clients. This stuff works. You have to actually look at your numbers. All right, the 4 P's of marketing and why they still matter. Yes, it's been around forever, but we still care about this. The 4 P's have been around since 1960s. And I know that sounds ancient, but they're genuinely still one of the most useful ways to think about your marketing. The 4 P's are product, price, place, and promotion. The first P is product, or in my case, probably in your case, it's the offer. For you, this isn't a physical thing sitting in a warehouse somewhere. It's your coaching program, your consulting package, your done for you service, your course, your membership, or whatever it is that you're selling. And here's what I see go wrong instantly. They describe their offer by what it is instead of what it does for the client. A 12-week coaching program with bi-weekly calls. That's what it is. But saying something like, finally having a client acquisition system that works while you sleep so you're not constantly in feast or famine mode. It is what it does. Which one makes you want to hand over your credit card? Yeah, you lead with a transformation every single time. A great example of this that's done extremely well is Spanx. Sarah Blakely didn't market footless pantyhose. She marketed the feeling of looking and feeling confident in your clothes. The product was the vehicle, the transformation was the point. And that distinction is exactly why Spanx became a billion-dollar brand. For your service business, think about it this way. If you're a business coach, you're not selling coaching sessions. You're selling the version of your client's business they've been trying to build forever, but couldn't figure it out themselves. If you're a marketing consultant, you're not selling a strategy deck. You're selling a full pipeline and the ability to finally stop worrying about where the next client is coming from. When you're defining your offer, here are the questions you actually need to be able to answer. What does your client's life or their business look like after working with you? What specific need or problem does your offer solve? What are the real benefits, not just the features, but the benefits? And how does your offer compare to other options your ideal client might be considering? The last one is important because your potential clients are comparing you to other options, whether you like it or not. This doesn't have to be some wild fancy thing. Sometimes it's your specific methodology. Sometimes it's your background and experience. Sometimes it's the very specific type of person you work with and the very specific result you help them get. But you need to be able to say it clearly and confidently. Also worth thinking about your offer's life cycle. Is this something people buy once? Is it recurring? Is there a natural next step after they complete it? Mapping this out now helps you build a business that doesn't require you to constantly find brand new clients from scratch, which is exhausting and frankly unsustainable. Think about how Sephora does it. Their Beauty Insider loyalty program has 3 tiers. You start at the base level, and as you spend more money, you unlock better rewards, bigger discounts, exclusive access. And I've bought way too much from Sephora. They've mapped out a customer journey that keeps people coming back for more and for more. And that makes them spend more over time instead of just like a one-time purchase and then disappearing. And you can absolutely do this in your service business. A starter offer that leads to a signature program that leads to a higher level retainer. That's your offer cycle. The second P is price. Pricing is one of the most emotionally loaded topics in our world. And I say that as someone who has helped a lot of people work through it. I've had to work through it myself. There's so much fear and even sometimes guilt and some weird energy around pricing. That's honestly wild because pricing is just a business decision. So let's do that. Let's talk about it practically. Your price needs to account for several things: your actual costs, your time, your tools, your overhead, the profit margin you need to run a sustainable business, basically. The value that you deliver to the client is giant in this. And then what the market will actually pay and your positioning. Where do you want to sit in the market? Do you want to be a budget brand? Do you want to be a luxury brand? Do you want to be somewhere in between? Here's the thing about value-based pricing that most people underestimate. When you help someone sign 5 new clients or finally get their marketing working, or they lost all the weight that they wanted to lose, that outcome has a real dollar value. Your price should reflect a meaningful fraction of that value, not just your hourly rate multiplied by the number of calls on your calendar. A good example here is McKinsey, the consulting group. Nobody hires McKinsey because they're the cheapest option in the room. They hire McKinsey because the perceived value in the market is that these people get it. Now, you and I aren't McKinsey. The principles don't apply here, but think about it. Let's say you're a business coach and you help your client get $50,000 in revenue, and then you have a program that is $2,000 worth. That's almost insultingly low. You price for the value of the outcome, not the hours that you put in. And here's the psychological piece that people really don't talk about enough. Underpricing doesn't just hurt your bank account, it actually makes people trust you less. There's real consumer psychology behind this. A higher price signals higher quality and higher confidence in your own work. When you price too low, people wonder why. Like, they wonder what's wrong with you and they wonder why they should be paying for this. And I'm not saying charge $1 million for everything. Again, this is why you look at the market and you look at your competitors. For my business, I would say 8 out of 10 people that come to me, they undercharge. Then there's always one that overcharges. And then there's one that's perfect. A really interesting example of pricing and the way that they looked at psychology is Apple. Apple is almost never the cheapest option in any category that they compete in. A comparable laptop or phone from any other brand almost always costs less. And yet people line up, and they literally line up around the store because the price itself is part of Apple's brand signal. It communicates quality and status and confidence before the customer even opens that white little pretty box. And then when you're figuring out your pricing, ask yourself these questions. What does it actually cost me to deliver this offer, including my time? What profit margin do I need? What is the real value of the outcome I deliver? What are others in my space charging for similar results? And can I offer payment plans, early bird pricing, or seasonal promotions to make it more accessible without devaluing the core offer? The last point is worth expanding on. Discounts and promotions aren't just nice to have. They're strategic tools. A limited time bonus or an early bird pricing for a new program, a payment plan, that type of thing, that can actually take those people that are sitting on the fence and make them actually pay for your offer. You don't have to do this. This is something that you need to make a decision on. Is that right for your business or not? And then look at your competitors. If all of your competitors are doing that, then you probably should too. If none of them are doing that, don't do it. The third P is place. In traditional marketing, place is about distribution. Where can consumers buy the product? For a service business, it means where and how people find you, engage with you, and ultimately hire you. Is your primary channel LinkedIn? Is it your website? Is it referrals from past clients? Is it speaking gigs? Is it a podcast? Is it YouTube? The goal of your place strategy is to make it as easy as possible for your potential client to find you and then buy from you. You want them to be a client. And it needs to be frictionless, like super, super easy. If someone lands on your website and has to click through like 6 pages to figure out how to work with you, you're losing people. If you do discovery calls and your link is super hard to find, you're losing people. If your offers aren't clearly explained anywhere that people can easily find it, you're definitely losing people. Airbnb is a fantastic example. So before Airbnb, you had to go find hotels and then go through some clunky booking system. And it was just really, really messy. Airbnb made the whole thing simple, visual, and fast. They won not just because of their cool inventory, but because of how easy they made it to get that inventory. The experience of finding and booking was part of the product. Now think about your business. Is the experience of finding you and understanding what you do and then taking the next step easy? Or is there some kind of friction points? Think about every touch point in the journey from I just found this person to I just signed the contract. Where are the drop-off points? Where does it get confusing? Where does it get complicated? Those are the things that you need to fix first. The question to ask yourself here is, where do my ideal clients actually spend their time online and offline? How can I show up in those places consistently? How easy is it for someone to find me, understand what I do, and take the next step? And do I need a sales process? What is it? Is it a discovery call? Is it a web page? Is it a sales page? Or can people just buy directly? Are there channels you haven't thought about yet? Maybe industry events or guest appearances and that type of stuff. You can also get in front of other people's audience, right? You could co-author an email, for example. It's actually a real cool one because you're borrowing trust that someone else has already built with an audience that's already warm. That is genuinely one of the highest ROI moves available to a solopreneur, and most people actually sleep on it. It's a little intimidating to find somebody and ask them to do that. So what I usually like to do is I like to find somebody that's very on the similar level. So for example, at the time that I'm filming this video, I have 10,000 LinkedIn followers. So if I'm going to do like a co-promotion post, I'm going to find somebody that's in that same range. I'm not going to ask somebody that has 100,000 followers. They're not going to want to work with me. But I'm also not going to ask somebody that has 1,000 followers because then that person is just going to benefit from me and I'm not going to benefit from them. So find somebody that's in the similar level as you. And the fourth P is promotion. This is the one that everyone jumps to first. And I totally get it because it's the most visible part of marketing. It's also my favorite. Post the content, run the ads, send the emails, get the clients. I know it sounds easy. But here's the thing. Promotion without the first 3 Ps figured out is actually going to make it super harder for you to sell. You can create amazing content every single day, but if your offer isn't clear, your pricing is off, or the path that we talked about to working with you is totally confusing, the content is not going to save you. I've seen this play out so many times, and it is so painful to watch. A classic example of promotion misfiring because the foundation wasn't solid is that Fire Festival. Remember that? Massive influencer marketing campaign, incredible social media presence. Even the promotional content was like super gorgeous and absolutely zero foundation underneath it. No real product, no infrastructure, no ability to deliver what they were actually promoting. And the promotion worked. It worked too well. The problem was everything else. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but the lesson there is real. Promotion amplifies what's already there, the good or the bad. On the flip side, look at GoPro, those GoPro cameras. Their promotion strategy is almost entirely built on user-generated content. They make it easy and exciting for the customers to share their own GoPro footage. And then they amplify that content across their own channels. The product is so good and so visual that the customers basically become the marketing department. And that's what happens when your offer, your pricing, your distribution, your promotion all work together like a beautiful system. For people like you and me, it's mostly like the content marketing that we do where we play like YouTube, podcasts, our email marketing, and all that good stuff. So which platform we're on matters a lot depending on where the audience is on. Email marketing is criminally underused, and paid ads, if and when the timing is right, and partnerships and referral programs, they are all part of the promotion. I separated those out a little bit because ads cost money. Everything else I talked about was organic, you can do for free. And then also referral programs and partnerships, that's like a next step. I want to give you another example of a solopreneur doing this right. So this leadership coach I worked with, they totally focused on LinkedIn for 18 months, one platform. They did 1 post per day. It was consistent. The content made sense. They were looking at their metrics. They didn't have ads. They didn't have fancy stuff. They didn't do anything that was expensive. They just were doing one platform, one thing for a long period of time, and they were being consistent, and they were making money because they were showing up. People started trusting them, and then people bought from them. The question to ask yourself here is, how do I make my message reach the right people? Which channels are the most appropriate for your audience and for your offer? And when is the best time to promote? Is it like seasonal? Is it evergreen? And then, of course, what metrics you need to look at to make sure you can improve upon that. And the 4Ps, they all work together as one big system. Here's what most marketing courses actually skip over, and I'm not going to skip over. The 4Ps, they're not 4 separate things. They literally work together as a system. And when one is wrong or off, the entire thing suffers. If your offer is unclear, your promotion won't convert. If your price doesn't match the perceived value of your offer, people will bounce even if they loved everything else. And if the path to hiring you is confusing, all your promotional efforts get wasted right at the finish line. This is why I always say, marketing is not a tactics problem. It's a systems problem. And the 4Ps give you a simple way to audit your whole system and find where the actual leak is. Nike is a great example of all 4 things working together perfectly. Their offer, premium athletic gear, is clearly defined around performance and aspiration. Their pricing signals quality and status. Their distribution is everywhere their customers are, from flagship stores to online to third-party retailers. And their promotion? Just do it, which everybody knows. It's emotional storytelling. And it's perfectly aligned with everything else that they're doing. Every single piece reinforces the other pieces. And that's the goal. And honestly, what worked 6 months ago might not be working right now. Build the habit of reviewing your 4Ps every single quarter and then adjust accordingly. I want you to do something. I want you to write the stuff down. And I want you to do 1 sentence for each P. For product, what transformation do you deliver and what makes your offer different from others? For price, does your price really reflect the value that you deliver? Are you confident on your pricing? How easy is it for someone to go from discovering you to actually hiring you? And be honest. And then for promotion, are you showing up consistently in the places where your ideal client is at? If any of those sentences are hard to write, that is your starting point. That's where your marketing needs the most attention right now. Drop a comment. Let me know which one of these Ps was your most difficult one to answer. I bet probably what's hard for you is hard for most of us. Once you know where your foundation is shaky, that's when you stop wasting energy on tactics that were never going to work anyways. And that is the fastest path to marketing that gets you clients. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep really figuring out what marketing is all about so you can get the clients and build the business that you deserve. Nobody accidentally built a successful business. At some point, somebody sat down and put together a plan. And today, that somebody is you. A lot of folks skip the marketing plan altogether because it sounds like corporate busy work. And I totally get it. The word marketing plan does have PowerPoint deck 1980s written all over it, but the version we're building today fits on 1 page and will do more for your business than 6 months of randomly posting everything that you could ever post. Step 1 of your plan is to analyze your current situation. This first step is a total audit of where you are right now, and you got to be honest. That's important. That's how you're going to grow. You want to look at a few things. What services are you currently offering and which ones are actually selling? What marketing have you tried and what results did that marketing produce or not produce? What are your clients saying about working with you? What words are they using to describe their transformation? And if you have a website or some social media presence, is it doing any real work for you or is it just existing? A really useful tool here is a SWOT analysis that shows your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I know it sounds like business school, but it actually works. This is a good exercise that I like to do once a year. And it does show you the kind of stuff that you might be avoiding and you should be doing. I know a lot of people that have done the SWOT analysis, especially right now, their weakness is AI. So let's say you're a career coach. Your strength might be that you have 15 years of corporate HR experience and you're like super warm and you have a really cool coaching style that gets you awesome testimonials. Your weakness might be that your website's outdated, your LinkedIn profile still leads to like the wrong links or maybe has the wrong job titles. And your opportunities might be there's a lot of people leaving corporate right now. They need what you have to offer. And your threats might be that the career coaching space is getting really crowded and a lot of people are offering cheap or free resources that kind of compete with what your programs are. And that SWOT analysis gives you an incredible clear picture of where to focus. You know what you're working with and you know what you're working against. Beyond the SWOT analysis, you also want to do a solid buyer persona analysis at this stage. Your buyer persona is a detailed profile of your ideal client, not just demographics like age and location, but psychographics too. What keeps them up at night? What have they already tried that hasn't worked? What does their life look like before they find you? And what do they want to look like after? The more specific you get here, the better. So something like marketing professionals in their 30s, that's not a buyer persona. Sarah, a 34-year-old marketing manager at a mid-sized tech company who's great at her job, but has been passed over for promotion twice. And she's starting to wonder if she needs to go out on her own. That was a beautiful buyer persona. You gave it a face. You gave it your ideal client list of what you want to go after. Step 2, analyze your competition. So this step gets its own section because it's so important. Sometimes it makes us feel bad to see our competitors doing so good. And sometimes we get a little bit scared that we'll never reach our goal. But competitor analysis is not the comparison game. I don't want you spiraling. It's just to know what's out there and what other people are doing. It helps you understand the landscape that you're operating in so you can figure out your own lane and you own that. Look at 2 or 3 people in your space. What are they talking about in their content? How are they positioning themselves? What do their offers look like? What's their price points? And what are people saying about them in comments and reviews and that type of stuff? Like what kind of praise do they get? And then figure out what their gaps are too. Because maybe what they're not doing is what you can then actually sell to the clients. Every competitor has blind spots, and your job is to find them. A great real world example of this is how Twitch built its business. When they launched, they didn't try to compete with YouTube across every content category. They looked at the landscape and found a very, very, very specific gap: live gaming content. And then they owned it completely. They became the go-to platform for that one thing before they ever tried to expand. And that laser focus on a specific underserved need is what made them. You don't need to reinvent the wheel in your niche. You just need to find the thing that's missing and be that person who delivers it better than anybody else. When you do that analysis, you want to answer these specific questions. What's their approximate business volume and how they got there? What's their price point? How do they get their clients? And what can you deliver differently or better? Step 3 is your objective. This is where most marketing plans fall apart. And it's not because people don't care about their goals. It's because they set goals that are way too vague, or maybe they're like just too high. You want to give it a SMART goal, which is specific, measurable, achievable, and realistic. And the T stands for time bound. So a vague goal is I want more visibility online. A SMART objective is I want to grow my LinkedIn following from 800 to 1,500 connections and increase my average post impressions by 40% within the next 90 days by posting 5 times per week and engaging daily in the comments of posts by my ideal clients. See the difference? The second one tells you exactly what to do, how to measure it, and how to evaluate it. You either hit it or you didn't. Here's some examples of SMART objectives that actually make sense for a business like yours probably. Like book 4 new discovery calls per month through inbound LinkedIn content by the end of the next quarter. Launch 1 new lead magnet and grow your email list to 200 subscribers within 60 days. Convert 2 existing newsletter subscribers into paying clients by the end of the month through some kind of targeted email sequence. Or generate 3 new client referrals in quarter 3 by implementing a formal referral program with existing clients. One more thing on objectives. Keep the list short. 2 or 3 is okay for each quarter. And I know it's tempting to write down like 11, 12 things because you have dreams that you want to achieve. But let's be reasonable, because if you put your objectives and your goals and everything too high and you don't meet those, you're going to come crashing down. Step 4 is build your action plan. Now we get to do the part that most people want to jump to first, me including. What are you actually going to do? Your action plan is where you take objectives and you translate them into specific strategies and into specific tactics. And the key here is to go from like big picture down to the specifics. Broad strategies first, and then the specific actions that support each one of them. Look at your offer. Are there any changes you need to make to what you're selling? How are you packaging it? How are you describing it? That kind of stuff. Maybe you need to rewrite a landing page or a sales page. Maybe you need to create a new entry-level offer. Maybe you just need to get clear on the transformation that you're actually giving people. And then look at your pricing. Do you need to adjust those prices? Do you need to create a new tier? Do you need to have a payment plan? I suggest those because I used to not have them. And I have one offer that is $2,000, which is too much for some people to pay. And I worked with somebody and they said, hey, can you make a payment plan? And I was like, why didn't I think of that? So of course, now I have a payment plan for that higher offer that I have. Then I want you to think about the place where people are buying. Do you need a clearer path? Do you need to set up a discovery call link? Do you need a better sales page? And then for the promotion piece, this is the biggest section of the action plan because you're probably going to do a lot of stuff. What content are you going to do? Which platforms are you going to be on? How often are you going to do that? What is the sequence of your emailing? What kind of welcome email messages do you have? If you're doing paid stuff, what kind of ads are you running? What kind of paid promotions are you doing? What kind of partnerships and that type of thing. Let me give you an example of a productivity coach and give you like what that would look like. So for their objective, they book 3 new discovery calls per month. They use LinkedIn and their time bound is Q2. The actions is to post on LinkedIn 5 times a week, and they separate it by educational content, by personal stories, and then of course by like case studies, by client results. And then they also engage for 20 minutes daily on posts of their ideal clients and like people that they want to work with. And then of course they need to update their LinkedIn bios and their headlines and all that good stuff. And they need to talk about that transformation that they deliver. And then on some of the posts, they need to have a clear call to action. Maybe they have a discovery call link, or they just say like, hey, hit me up in the DMs. Then they can also add on sending monthly emails to their existing list to make sure that those people stay warm and then end up buying. And then they also want to invite them to a discovery call or send them to the sales page. Now, all that is a real action plan. It's specific, it's doable, and directly connected to the objective. So step 5, review, measure, and adjust. Here's the thing about your marketing plan that a lot of people miss. It is not a document that you like create once and never look at again, or you hang it on a wall somewhere. It's a living, breathing document that needs regular attention and needs regular updates. A good way to do that at the beginning is to do it monthly. Now at my point, I do it quarterly because I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a very long time. But when you're first starting out, I tell a lot of my clients to do it monthly. So Coca-Cola is a great example of a brand that has been doing this for over a century. They have a core marketing strategy that stays consistent. They talk about happiness and they talk about connection. And then, of course, they tie that in with their refreshments. But the tactics that they use to execute that strategy have evolved over the times, from print to TV to social media and to experiential marketing. The foundation, though, has always stayed the same. But the execution, the action plan, always evolves. Your version might look like your core message and your offer stays consistent, but then you test different content formats, different platforms, different promotional angles, and you keep what works and let go of what doesn't. Now, the truth about marketing plans is back in the day, and it's like big enterprise companies, they have like marketing plans that are like books, which I think is stupid because marketing changes way too much, especially now in the age of AI, that I think if you just have a marketing structure, which can simply be a 1-page plan, And that is what you visit every quarter. That is what's going to make you successful. Because you don't want something really giant that you're never going to plan and look at again. You want a plan that you can see quickly and then you can stick to. You've been putting out that content, you have a website, you have an offer that sometimes gets results, but where are all your clients and why are they not coming in consistently? First things first, you need to know exactly who you're talking to. And I mean exactly, not women in their 30s who like business. I mean a real, specific, fully fleshed out human being. There are two concepts here that most people mix up: your target audience and your buyer persona. Your target audience is a more broad group, right? Women in their 30s who are in business. But then your buyer persona is this ideal client that I want you to really get to know. This is what it looks like in practice. Your ideal client might be service providers between 30 and 50 years old that are coaches online. But your buyer persona, let's call her Jamie, is a 38-year-old HR consultant who left corporate 8 months ago. She's landed a couple of clients through her network, but knows that is going to dry up soon, so she needs to do more. She listens to business podcasts on her morning runs. She's tried a few online courses that didn't really get her anywhere. And she's really ready. She's ready to invest in help because she's done figuring this out alone. See the difference here? When Jamie lands on your website, she should feel like you wrote every single word specifically for her. Like you somehow got into her journal or got into her head, and that is what converts, right? That is what somebody is going to see, and then they see themselves and they're going to stop scrolling and they're going to pay attention to you. And don't guess, base this on reality. Pick a past or current client that you really love working with them, and see if you have to clone them, what you'd have to write down for the scientists to clone that ideal client for you. How did they find you? What kind of problems do they have? What are the words that they are using? What is the problem that they had before working with you, and how did you resolve it for them at the end? And that last one is especially important. The exact words your best clients use to describe their problem before they found you. Those are the words you should be using all over your marketing. And then also use their words in the solution that they found with you. You don't want to use fancy terms, industry terms. You want to use real language that your customer uses. And you can find this language, right? You can go in LinkedIn groups, on Reddit threads, on YouTube comments. Look at your competitors and follow them and see what kind of comments that they use. Not everyone in your audience is in the same place, and treating them all the same way is costing you clients. There are basically three buckets, right? There's your cold audience that have never heard of you. They're complete strangers to you. Your job here is not to pitch them. It's to show up, provide value, and make them want to know more about you. Think about the first time you discovered someone you now obsess over online. They didn't lead with their offer, most likely, right? They said something that made you think, oh my God, they get me. Warm audiences know that you exist. They've been to your website, they have watched a YouTube or two, they go on your Instagram, they know about you already. They're no longer strangers. Your job is to deepen that relationship so you can move them from just watching you to actually buying from you. And that is a big know, like, and trust thing that you need to build with them. And then an underutilized asset that a lot of my clients have skipped is their existing clients. Well, maybe there's an upsell, maybe there's a cross-sell, maybe you have something that they can buy again. Don't forget about those. They have already figured out who you are, they've liked you, they've trusted you, and they bought from you. So if you serve them the right way and they loved what you did, they're more likely to buy again. And if you maybe only have one product and there's nothing else to buy, then maybe they can refer you, they can give you testimonials, they can introduce you to other people. So don't forget your existing clients. And what I've seen is most coaches and consultants and service providers, they spend 90% chasing new people instead of really warming up their existing audience and then talking to their people that they've already bought from them. So let's break this down: a client versus a lead. A lead is someone who has shown total interest in you and they've given you permission to stay in touch. So that means that they're probably on your email list. They downloaded a freebie, they've watched something that you did, maybe they even booked a discovery call. And that lead has opted in. That is completely different from someone who just follows you on social media. Followers are an audience. Leads are potential clients. And leads convert at a dramatically higher rate than normal followers. And this matters because of where you focus your energy. A social media following is valuable, but it's not yours. It's borrowed land. You need to get them on your platform, which you own, which is your email list. I want to bring in corporate terms, MQLs and SQLs, because they do matter from your business. They come from the corporate world, yes, but they're totally useful when you figure out exactly who your customer is. An MQL is a marketing qualified lead. And that's someone who's interested and fits your ideal client profile, but isn't ready to buy yet. They're downloading your content. They're opening your emails. They're commenting on your posts. They're engaged, but they're still in research mode and they're looking at your competitors. An SQL is a sales qualified lead, and that is someone who has shown clear buying intent. They booked a discovery call. They replied to your email asking about working together. They looked at your landing page. They're not just curious. They're actually considering purchasing. And this matters because if you treat every MQL like they're ready to buy, you'll come across as pushy and you lose them. If you treat every SQL as somebody that still has lots of time and you're just kind of like letting them float around, you're leaving money on the table. Your marketing job is to move people from cold to warm, from marketing qualified leads to sales qualified leads. And your sales job is to convert SQLs into clients. Know where someone is and talk to them accordingly. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll segment our audiences. At the very beginning, I actually tell my folks, don't segment because it is a little bit more advanced. But what I want you to do later is once you really know, like this is a cold lead, this is a warm lead, this is somebody that's sales qualified, and then you put them in different buckets and they get a little bit different email nurturing. Which this brings me to the conversion funnel, right? The funnel is just a map of that journey from stranger all the way to client. And there are 3 stages, and these sound funny. There's the tofu, the mofu, and the bofu. The tofu is the top of funnel, and this is your largest portion. These are your cold audiences, your new followers, that type of thing. And your content here is broad. It's very educational and it's all about awareness building. So think blog posts, social media posts, YouTube videos, podcast appearances. Anything that helps new people discover you and understand what you do. Mofu is the middle of the funnel where people are evaluating you. They know they have a problem, but now they're trying to do research on how they can get a solution for that problem. And they think you might be able to help, and they're doing their research. Your content here gets very, very specific, right? You have case studies, testimonials, free trainings, email sequences that build your credibility and deepen the trust that they have in you. And then the bottom of the funnel is BOFU. This is where the buying decisions are happening. These are your SQLs. They're ready. They need a clear path to say yes. So that's, again, a discovery call, a sales page, a proposal, some kind of direct outreach. Here's an example of what this could look like in real life. A leadership consultant posts on LinkedIn consistently. Top of funnel. Interested people visit her website and download her free guide. Middle of funnel. She sends them a welcome email sequence with value and client stories over 2 weeks. She deepens that relationship. Then she invites them to a free strategy session. Bottom of the funnel. In that session, she presents her consulting engagement. That's a complete funnel built intentionally, not hoping that people will find her all on their own. So the first step in getting people into your funnel is lead generation. For most service providers, that's a lead magnet. Some kind of free resource your ideal client wants badly enough to trade their email address for. So a guide, a checklist, a template, a quiz, a mini training, a free audit, anything like that. But it has to be something that's useful for their problem. It needs to be really specific to what their needs are. So saying something vague like free marketing tips is not going to cut it. Something like the 5-part funnel audit before a service provider runs ads, now that's going to get them interested. And the more specific and immediately applicable, the higher your conversion rate. Beyond lead magnets, there's direct outreach on LinkedIn done with some kind of personalization. You can be a guest appearance on a podcast. Like I'm actually speaking at a summit soon, and that is going to be a way that I'm going to do lead generation. And really, it's just this consistently showing up and giving value. The coaches and consultants and service providers who market most effectively are the ones who stay genuinely curious about the people that they serve. They're always listening, they're always learning, they're always refining. And when you combine that deep audience knowledge with a real lead generation system, you stop chasing clients and you start attracting them. That shift changes everything. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments what was the most useful for you. All right, next up is this guy. There are 1 million marketing channels available to you right now, and 3 of them actually matter for your business. And we're going to figure out which ones those are. Okay, not literally 3, but you know what I'm saying, right? What you need is a focused strategic approach that uses the right channels for your specific audience and your specific offer. Content marketing is the creation and distribution of valuable content that attracts and engages your ideal clients. Blog posts, YouTube videos, LinkedIn articles, newsletters, podcasts, that type of thing. For people like you and for people like me, this is one of the highest ROI activities available to you because it builds trust, it demonstrates expertise, and it attracts the right people and attracts them organically over time. I'm not sure if you've ever gone to the Home Depot blog, but it's a really cool content marketing example. They give useful, awesome advice, and then people, they come for the free information, but they leave with a cart full of supplies. So for you, the equivalent might be a YouTube channel where you teach your methodology, or a newsletter where you share real insights from your client work, or a LinkedIn presence where your ideal client consistently thinks, this person gets me. The catch with content marketing is that it takes time. It is a long game. You will not publish 3 blog posts and wake up to a full client roster. But the entrepreneurs who commit to it consistently for 12 to 18 months build something that keeps paying off for years. And yes, I said 12 to 18 months. A lot of this is a long game, my friends. A lot of YouTubers that are big, are overnight successes, are the ones that literally have been doing it for 3 to 5 years. But let's talk about inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is the broader philosophy behind content marketing. Instead of interrupting people with ads and cold outreach, you make yourself so findable and so valuable that the right people come to you. HubSpot, the giant CRM, built a multi-billion-dollar company on this exact idea. They give away free tools, free certifications, free content, and that generosity fills their pipeline. Your version might be a lead magnet people are actively searching for, a YouTube channel that shows up when your ideal clients are looking for answers, or a LinkedIn profile so well optimized that people find you when they need exactly what you do. Next up is direct marketing. Direct marketing is reaching out directly to a targeted group with a specific message and a specific call to action. Email is the most powerful form of direct marketing available to you. And we're going to spend real time on it in a minute. Direct marketing also includes like a LinkedIn DM outreach, any kind of personalized video messages that you're sending to people. The defining characteristic is that the response is measurable. You know exactly what's working and what is not. Performance marketing is a model where you only pay when a specific action happens. A click, a lead, a sale. So that's like Google ads, Facebook ads, Meta ads, that type of thing. For service professionals, I generally recommend holding off on paid ads, especially if you're new, because you want to make sure that your offer is proven first, you have a working funnel, and people like what you're selling. Once that is all working perfectly, then you can start running paid ads. And then paid ads can scale real fast. Then we also have influencer marketing. So this doesn't mean hiring like, Kim Kardashian or other Instagram celebrities. It means getting on the right podcasts, collaborating with complementary service providers who serve your same audience, and building genuine relationships with people who have influence in your niche. One well-placed podcast interview with a host whose audience is full of your ideal clients can be worth months of solo content creation. I speak on podcasts for that purpose. And I also am doing a speaking engagement at a conference next month. And all that stuff is to build my audience from other people's audiences. For organic social, the only questions that matters is, where does my specific ideal client actually spend time? Not where everyone says you should be, where your person is. Anybody that works with professionals, it's usually LinkedIn. If you are into art and that type of thing, it's probably TikTok or Instagram. Once you get a good flow and you feel very comfortable there, that's when you want to branch out and go on more social media platforms. And then we got search engine marketing and AI SEO. So that's a whole other ball game. I can do like 4 more videos on that. But what you need to know right now is you need to have the basics figured out. I have plenty of videos on SEO and GEO, which is generative engine optimization for search engines. So check those out. Because when somebody is actually looking for something, that is a high purchase intent. So that's really, really good. And you want to come up. And then we got email marketing. Each year somebody says email marketing is dead. It's not. And it's the most underused tool in your arsenal. Email is genuinely one of the most powerful tools available to coaches, consultants, and service providers. And most people either don't use it at all, or they use it infrequently, or they use it incorrectly. You own your email list. Nobody, no algorithm can take that away from you. Your subscribers have explicitly opted in, which means they're already warm, and the ROI is extraordinary. Some studies put it around $40 back for every $1 invested. What's nice is that email gives you the ability to have a real conversation with your audience. When you write a great email that makes someone reply, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now," that is relationship building. And you always want to start with your welcome series. So if somebody signs up to a lead magnet, you don't want them just to go into your regular email flow. You want to make sure there's a welcome email that's like, "Hey, Andrea, here's your lead magnet." Email 2, "Hey, Andrea, this is what I do," or whatever it is that you want to write. I usually do email welcome series, depending on what I'm doing, a 3 to 5 part series. Arguable, this is the most important content you will write, because that sets the tone for your entire relationship. After your welcome email sequence, that's when you do your regular newsletters and your nurture strategies. Give them real insights, useful frameworks, honest stories from your own experience, pepper in some case studies or some testimonials. So you can write a story about somebody that has used your service, that it's an educational story for the reader. The problem that I see a lot is a lot of entrepreneurs will only send out emails when they're selling something. And so that's the fastest way you get people to unsubscribe to your email list. And then we have segmentation. It's usually more of an advanced thing that I like to teach, but segmentation is where you have different audience get different types of emails. So if you're a business coach, for example, with a group program for early stage entrepreneurs, and then you have a one-on-one retainer for like established entrepreneurs, they should have 2 different emails that they get, and they should be segmented as such. And it's oftentimes very hard to figure out like what people are. So you could do like surveys, or when people sign up, you can ask them where they're at. But again, that's an advanced thing. Right now, I'm just talking about the basics. And you want to make sure that you have really good personalization and there's some genuine interest there on your part. Bad outreach like AI copy and paste stuff doesn't work here. A good outreach shows you've paid attention. You want to reference something specific about their work or who they are or about their dog. And you want to lead with curiosity and you want to start a conversation. Don't just sell. Social media ads deserve a mention here too. Again, I call this more advanced, but when you run a targeted social ad on either LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever that you're doing it, the targeting capabilities are remarkable. You can job titles, industry, companies they follow, interests, life events, all kinds of jazz. And if you use this strategically, it can be incredibly effective for getting your offer in front of the right people. The key is to use social ads to amplify content and offers that are already converting organically before you spend significant money on them. This is worth repeating. I don't want you to spend ad money if you don't have a proven system already and you're already getting people buying your offers and you making money, because you're just going to be throwing away money. So your funnel needs to work, your customer journey needs to work before you spend money on ads. And this is also running ads to either offers or to lead magnets. That's a really popular thing to do. And there's something called retargeting ads, which is really cool. So maybe you send your lead magnet ads to strangers, and then to people that are already on your list, you can retarget them. And that means that they get your ads and they're like, oh yeah, I remember this Andrea chick. I need to make sure I buy her consulting. So yeah, please buy my consulting. We went over a lot. But know that you don't need to be everywhere. You need to be strategic. Pick the channels where your ideal clients actually are. Build a system that moves them from stranger to lead to client, and show up consistently. They need to know you before they buy from you. And that's how you build any kind of business that doesn't depend on you having a great month on social media to pay your bills. All right. For more marketing tips, watch this video next. If someone asked you right now, what's actually driving new clients to your business, could you answer with confidence? Could you say, yes, I get 5% from here, 30% from there, and the rest from here? Probably not, especially if you're a beginner. We're going to talk about measurements and we're going to talk about launching. So metrics are a map. They're not a report card, so don't get weirded out if your metrics aren't good. They're really a window into your business. And I know they can be intimidating. It's an actual must if you want to scale your business. They don't tell you whether you're good or bad at marketing. They tell you where to go next. Once you start thinking about them that way, maybe they won't be so intimidating. Let's talk about metrics versus KPIs. So just knowing the difference is going to be important. Open rates, follower counts, website sessions, click-through rates, impressions, reach. There are hundreds of metrics like this, but they're not your most essential ones. Your KPIs are your key performance indicators. And those are the specific metrics that you've decided on that matter for your specific goal. They're the numbers that tell you whether you're moving towards your objective or away from them. You can't pay equal attention to 47 metrics and get useful insights from any of them. Pick 3 to 4 KPIs directly tied to your goals and watch those. So for me, if I am new to a certain channel, I'm trying to grow it, sure, subscribers are super important for that KPI. But if I have a channel that's been up there for a while already, it's not the KPI that I care about. The KPI I care about is number of leads that I'm getting, and of course, the number of sales that I'm getting. And then you want to know which channel gives you the highest KPIs. So for example, if you're launching a new offer and you have people coming to your sales page, that conversion data is going to be very important. What percentage of people are converting on that page and are buying? Because if that number is low, that means the page sucks and you're going to have to redo it. If that is really high, that means your page is amazing. So keep going. So that's the kind of stuff I want you to think about. And with each KPI, they're all directly connected to a specific goal. You have something called click-through rate. That tells you what percentage of people who saw your content or email actually clicked through to take the next step. A low CTR means something is broken. Conversion rate is the percentage of people who take a desired action out of the total who had the opportunity. If 100 people visit your discovery call booking page and 8 book, your conversion rate is 8%. That's a number you can test against. And then you can change one thing, a headline, the button, the description, and see if that number goes up or down. And then lead metrics tell you about your pipeline health. How many new leads are you getting each week? Where did the leads come from? Do any of these leads convert into clients? These numbers show you where the bottlenecks are. Then you have revenue metrics, and they are what ultimately matters, right? You want to look at client lifetime value, monthly recurring revenue if you have retainers or a membership. You want to look at revenues per lead. These help you understand the true value of your marketing and make smarter decisions about where to invest. ROI ties it all together. This does not have to be fancy. I write down my metrics each month. So I have those that I look at. And then for my KPIs, if I'm in a sales cycle or something like that, of course I look at it daily. But most of the time I just do monthly, kind of see what's happening. Are things going up? Are things going down? Where am I at? And I really just created a simple spreadsheet on Google. And then what's important is over time, are your numbers getting better? right? If your landing page had an 8% conversion rate, which is actually bad, and then now it has a 80% conversion rate, which is insanely good, then you know that you're growing. So you want to make sure that you keep these over time and look at the history, look at what you're doing right now so you can figure out what you're going to be doing in the future. So let's talk about mistakes I see a lot of people make. Mistake number 1, no content strategy at all. Only posting when inspired, going dark when busy, wondering why the audience isn't growing. That doesn't work. You need a plan and you need to be consistent and you need to have discipline. Mistake number 2, changing your strategy before it has time to work. 3 weeks in, that's probably not enough time. You need to really give it some time and then change it and optimize it to make sure that it's actually working. Like I've sold something before that 0 people bought, and then I just changed a couple of things in my messaging, and then people did end up buying it. I could have thrown it away, but I kept it because I knew that there were things I could tweak. Mistake number 3, what we just talked about, you have no KPIs written down. You want to know what you're going to track before you have some kind of campaign, because you need to make sure that you get towards those goals. So that's very, very important. Mistake number 4, too many goals for just one campaign. When you try to increase awareness and generate leads and drive sales and build your list and a bunch of other things, your messaging tries to do too many things. So you want to have one objective per campaign. One thing really well beats doing 5 things in a mediocre way. Mistake number 5 is testing, A/B testing. You have a version A and a version B. That could be an email where the subject line is what you're testing, and you send out a subject line number 1 or subject line A, subject line B, and see what opens. Testing is how you learn the fastest. So I'm a big fan of testing. Mistake number 6, ignoring search engine optimization and AI optimization. You need to know how to do this because you want people to find you when they're searching in Perplexity or ChatGPT or Claude, or when they're searching on Google. Mistake number 7 is for the more advanced folks. You send one email to your entire list. Segmentation is a big thing. We want to segment your email subscribers to make sure that the right people are getting the right message. And mistake number 9, making it all about you. Social posts about your achievements, website copy that leads with your bio, emails mostly about what you're launching. This centers around you when it should center around your client. People don't hire you because you're impressive. They hire you because they believe you can solve their problem. Make every piece of marketing about them first. And mistake number 10, not following up. The fortune is in the follow-up, and most solopreneurs ignore this completely. People are busy, they miss emails, they mean to book the call, and they get distracted. One warm, human, non-pushy follow-up message can recover a significant percentage of leads that would have gone cold. Build follow-up into your system, please. Not an afterthought. All right, next up, we're going to talk about your launch playbook. That could be launching a new course, new consulting offer, whatever you have. Step number 1 is know your ideal target audience. You need to know what they're struggling on and how you can help them and why your solution is the best one. Think about what solutions are they already aware of? What gap are you uniquely positioned to fill? So Peloton is really good at this, right? They capitalized on the home fitness shift at exactly the right moment because they were paying attention to what their market needed. And you can do the same at your scale. Step 2, know your competition. Do a competitive scan before you launch anything new. Who else is offering something similar? What are they charging? What are the gaps? You're not going to copy anyone, right? You're just going to be looking at positioning, and that way you can figure out your offer and what you need to be selling. Step 3, define your launch objectives. Like, do you want to sign 5 clients at $2,000 each within 30 days? Something like that. You want to have your objectives clear. Step 4, build your pre-launch runway. Going from 0 to open door with no warm-up is the biggest launch mistake people make. 2 to 4 weeks of content that speak directly to the problem your offer solves. You need to make sure you have transformation stories and that type of thing. You kind of like building anticipation before you even do the first sell. Step 5, nail your positioning before you write a single piece of launch content. What is the transformation your offer delivers? Who is it specifically for? What makes it different? Why now? Answer these clearly and your launch content almost writes itself. And step number 6, choose your channel strategically. Your email list is always your primary launch channel. But then you can look at social, which social, do you want to do ads, that type of thing. You can even look at partnerships, right? If you don't know, then always just go where your audience is. That's the best. And step number 7, build your launch content sequence. Week 1, pre-launch, the problem your offer solves. Week 2, pre-launch, your methodology and approach. Week 3, pre-launch, social proof and transformation stories. Then you have launch week, doors open, clear calls to action, genuine urgency, but only if you have a real reason for it. Don't make it up. And follow up for everyone who showed interest but hasn't committed. Step 8, optimize your conversion path before you drive traffic to it. Does your sales page actually convert? Is the copy clear? Is the call to action obvious? Is it mobile friendly? A surprising number of solopreneurs drive launch traffic to a page they've never tested and then blame the marketing when nothing converts. Step 9, prepare your follow-up strategy in advance. Who gets what after each action? Someone who visits the sale page but doesn't buy? Like, what emails do they get? Someone who books a discovery call but doesn't convert? What's the follow-up sequence? Build this before the launch, not in the middle of it. And step 10, do a post-launch review within 1 week of closing. What were your numbers? What worked? What didn't work? What could you have done differently? Write it all down. You're going to launch again, and every launch should be smarter than the last. All right. I wish you nothing but the best for everything that you're working on. You got this, my friend. And if you need somebody in your corner, go to my website. I do group consulting and I do one-on-one consulting. I also have some courses on there, but I'm here to help. So whatever you need, just let me know. You can also book a discovery call. All right. See ya.